Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 1st of October. It is a Wednesday. We do have 4 games ahead of us today. All game 2 of the Wild Card Series. No weather to worry about. Slight winds blowing in Wrigley, I do believe. But nothing that should inhibit hitters or really benefit pitchers. Maybe Shota gets a little bit of a bump because he is a fly ball pitcher. But again, probably very little weather benefit or detriment across the board. LA probably looks like the best spot for home runs. I mean, it's debatable. New York probably does with Bayo, but he doesn't allow a whole lot of home runs. Reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. I mean, I'm really playing pretty much everybody, but I do think you can take more stands on FanDuel, mainly because the pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative, and you get to stack the way you want generally. Might be tougher. Obviously, postseason generally has the better hitters. They are pricier, etc. Less value options available too. But enough of that. Let's just talk about some of the pitching here. Detroit-Cleveland. We saw both starters absolutely dominate yesterday. Skubal racked up 14 strikeouts, I believe it was. While Gavin Williams nearly got to double digits and allowed 0 earned runs. We are not going to get the same type of pitching matchup, I do not believe, in this one with Tanner Bibee and Casey Mize. Bibee, like Gavin Williams, his last 2 starts did come against this Detroit squad. 2 strong starts. So 3 in a row, really, after a rough season. But 3 starts against Detroit, averaging 27.5 fantasy points. That means he put up a 30 spot in the one prior to that, these last 2. Right here, 33.4. So he's been dominant against them. Detroit's offense has been non-existent much of the second half of the season, but this is a clinch spot for Detroit. I'm not sure how to handle the hit, just because I don't know if Bibee can step up under pressure and do it. He definitely has in September, as Cleveland was chasing down the division lead and ultimately the division title. 100-plus pitches in each of his last 3 starts. 2 runs or less in 4 straight, in all 4 starts in September. So there's some recent trends that, tell me that Bibee's probably in play. I don't love it, but I'm going to have to utilize him because Detroit can strike out plenty, and they obviously have, fallen off offensively, really. Even yesterday, it's not like they dominated to pick up the W. Relied on a couple of unearned runs. So I think Bibee is definitely an option for us. I'm curious to see what the field goes to with him. I don't want to be too exposed, to be honest, because I do think there's some power spots for Detroit in this matchup. Especially against some of the pitch combinations that Bibee does utilize. But I think he's fine, like I mentioned. Casey Mize on the other side. I'm not overly excited to use Casey Mize, I will be honest. He has made 3 starts against Cleveland. He's been solid, if unspectacular, really. I mean, from a fantasy standpoint, been really solid. Underlying numbers, been really good, even better. Probably a better real-life pitcher against them than fantasy. 17 fantasy points here, 24 here, and then 18. So, relatively consistent against them. not overly excited, like I mentioned. Now with that, like, of the offenses in the postseason, Cleveland is obviously near the bottom. They aren't potent. They don't have a ton of power by any means. But there are a couple spots where I think they do line up decently against Mize. And, I mean, that's really just going to be Jose Ramirez, Naylor, and probably Manzardo in the spot. So maybe he's viable. I just don't love the upside. But then again, we don't have, the same strength of pitching options as we did yesterday. I mean, Yamamoto's great. Rodon can be. But also his K rate and walk rate in the second half have gone the opposite direction. So maybe. But, like, if I'm trimming my pitcher pool, like, I don't think I'm playing Zach Littell at all. I'm going to take that chance. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Bayo. Mize probably not going to use him. I might sprinkle in, 8% or so, but I just don't really like the upside. I just have to figure out what's the likelihood of, like, Cease, Rodon, and Yamamoto just not getting there. Or at least 2 out of the 3 not getting there, I should say. Because one of them can get there, and then the second guy could be Casey Mize. So I guess the more that I talk about it out loud, the more that I probably end up with Casey Mize, in the 14 to 16% range, maybe. Now, this is ballparking. I haven't looked at projected ownership. I haven't really dug into how I want to break down my builds yet. This is just pure looking at pitching and comparing across the board. So maybe Mize gets a better bump than I originally wanted to believe. San Diego and the Cubs. So here's the issue in this matchup. San Diego showed that they were going to pull their pitcher, who was super strong yesterday, a little early. 85 pitches. Like, he could have easily pitched the 6th, right? Gave up 2 solo home runs, but aside from those 2 mistakes, was really dominant across the board. So now, what are they going to do with Dylan Cease? Probably something similar. I mean, so Cease does rack up pitch count early. Like, he walks more guys than Pivetta does. He has more K upside and more of a ceiling, in my opinion, but he's also a lot more volatile. He was solid against the Cubs, not great. Gave up some base runners, a home run, but I think there is upside for him. He's kind of in a tier on his own on this slate behind Yamamoto and behind Rodon. And then it goes to Cease, and then it drops down a tier, to some of these other guys. So Cease is definitely going to be in play. It's just this matchup worries me from a length standpoint from both sides. The other side, Shota, and mentioned this on X last night once it was announced. Using Kittredge as an opener for Game 2, after he looked sharp in Game 1 as the 8th inning setup man. So he's basically the team's number 1 setup guy at this point. Just an insane K rate, etc. They're going to use him as an opener in the first inning of a playoff game in a low leverage spot. Nobody's on base. It's not 1-0 in the 8th inning, and you need to bridge it to your closer, etc. Where the park is amplified. You're using him to start out the game as people are still getting settled into their seats, and they expect him to be as dominant in that role, but also they expect other guys in the bullpen to be able to step up into higher leverage situations later in the game, should they arise. I just can't fathom the idea of using somebody that important to your bullpen in the first inning. But I digress. He's going to open for Imanaga. Again, I don't understand it because Tatis struggles against left-handed pitching. Arise hitting in the 2-hole. I'd still rather have a left-handed pitcher taking on a rise than Kittredge. But it is what it is. Shota, after that, 2 solid performances in San Diego this year. 1 earned run in 2 starts. Pretty strong. Ks were solid. San Diego doesn't strike out all that much, but they do struggle enough against left-handed pitching. And they started, 5 left-handed bats yesterday against a left-handed pitcher. So we do expect it to be, 5 deep. It might be 4. They might slide Iglesias into the lineup and take out, Sheets or something. But still, it's a decent matchup. Wind slightly blowing in for a fly ball pitcher. Home runs are an issue. So, maybe we won off home run hunt San Diego, but I think Shota's in play because of that. Running out of time here after I spent a long time on the first game and a half, really. Carlos Rodon versus Brian Bayo. Bayo, pitch profile-wise, does not line up to be a great spot. His last handful of starts, 5 of them, have not been good. The Ks aren't there, the walks are up. He just doesn't allow a ton of home runs overall, but this is not the ballpark to test that theory in. He's just not striking anybody out, especially on the road, walking a ton of guys on the road, backs against the wall in New York. Bayo's going to be an easy fade for me, and if he dominates the Yankees, so be it. I'm just going to lose on this slate. It is what it is. The other side, Carlos Rodon, been mediocre for a while, and then had this strong start against Baltimore and back to mediocre. 3 starts against Boston have not been good. Real bad, a lot of walks, a lot of base runners, etc. Hits-wise, not bad. So if he can cut down the walks, I think he's in a great spot. And he's pitching at home, where overall his numbers are strongest. Does give up more home runs at home, but we kind of expect that in that ballpark. I do think Carlos Rodon has a ton of upside in this back against the wall scenario, especially when pitching at home. I feel pretty good about it, but there's some volatility, so I will stack some Boston bats, especially because I stacked them against Max Fried. So I'm going to go back to some of those right-handed bats for Boston. Last game of the night, Yamamoto Littell. Man, I really wish it was Nick Lodolo going for the Reds, but it is what it is. Zach Littell, 36 home runs allowed on the season. He allows a ton of them on the road, a ton of walks on the road. His K rate plummets on the road. There's just so many things pointing towards he's in trouble. And the fact that the Dodgers just opened up their power bats yesterday like it was nothing against Hunter Green, who had a home run issue on the road. So you're sensing a theme here. It's the Dodgers by a million, really, in my mind. From a best ball standpoint, I kind of wish it would go 3 games, but I just want to secure the advancement for the Dodgers stacks. But on the other side, Yamamoto arguably could have been used as the Game 1 starter. Hasn't allowed more than 1 run in any of his last 5 starts. 2 runs allowed is the most over his last 6. He's just coming in great form. Walks can be an issue. They do pop up, but the Reds, plenty of strikeouts. He absolutely dominated the Reds once this season. I could see it happening again. Now, he is at home where his actual numbers are slightly worse, but his K rate's stronger when pitching at home. But still, Yamamoto, there's just not a whole lot to talk about in this matchup for me. Yamamoto just feels like a smash. Obviously, on the other side, the Reds, backs against the wall. You are going to get arguably their best performance, or at least they're attempting to. So there is some volatility for him in that scenario, but to me, he's the top pitching options on the slate, and it's not close at all. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options on the slate. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. I will drop this link to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie or my design on shirts or hoodies, etc. Let me know what you think about the slate this evening in the comments below. And as always, best of luck, everybody.